What's up, YouTubers and Halo fans? Welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a look at the newly released Halo Mantis mech with Spartan EVA. I grabbed the box here. You can see the fantastic artwork on the front of the box. This actually comes with the pilot right here, or I should say right here in the window. Now I found this at my local Target, and I figured let's pick it up and do a review. We flip it around to the back side, and you can see some of the other figures that they actually offer in the New World of Halo scale. Absolutely great variety of figures. And I haven't found this ATV yet, but when I do, I'd like to pick it up and do a review of that as well. Flip it back around to the front. Get another still picture of what the box looks like. And we're going to open it up and check it out. Okay, I've taken everything out of the box, laid it here on the review table. And as you can see, the mech comes in actually two pieces. It comes with the pilot EVA, her futuristic shotgun, and this very simple instruction sheet on how to actually assemble the mech. Looks like they just popped together. There's a post right here, and there's a receiving hole right there. I'll go ahead and assemble this off of camera because when it's put together, it is really large. Alright, here we have the mech and the pilot, and the mech is all assembled. And I will say right out of the gate, I'm glad I actually assembled this off camera because there is a little bit of fiddling you have to do to get this thing to stand upright. Now, assembling it was simple. It's just you have to get the legs underneath it just right for it to stand up correctly because it is a little top heavy and it wants to fall forward. Let's look at the pilot first. I'll bring Eva in nice and close, and I really love the bright yellow helmet that's on this figure. The details on this is absolutely fantastic with no paint slop. See the nice detail on the side of the helmet. The knife on the chest is solid, so that's not removable. Coming down to the chest and waist area, you can see the gray highlights. The armor down the arms with some type of weapons on the shoulder. Coming around to the back, see the backpack. The peg hole right here is to receive the shotgun, so you can hang it on the back of the figure. Same great detail on the right arm. I really love the white and green. It offsets each other with the gray background or gray bodysuit. I will say I am impressed with the way these Halo figures are coming out. I mean, no paint slop anywhere and fantastic detail. Next, let's take a look at her weapon. You can tell this is a shotgun of some type with the pump action on the front. It's dark gray with light gray highlights. Great detail on this side, and right here you can actually see the peg. The peg's in the back of the figure, so you can hang it on her back. Let's grab the figure and I'll demonstrate that right now. You just port that in right here, and now she can carry the shotgun around with her when she's running around out in the field. Next, we'll take a look at the paint and detail on the mech. Start with the front right here, and right out of the gate I can see that they used clear headlights. I really like how they did that instead of just painting those on or using some type of label or sticker. Nice detail on the actual top of the mech. Great looking design. Nice radar dish right there with some red paint on it. Spartan logo right there on the front of the apron. Nice and intimidating looking. On this side you can see the multiple rocket pods, which is articulated, and we'll go over that during the articulation portion of the video. On this side you see the Gatling gun and the belt-fed bullets right there. Let's turn it around to the back side. Nice looking detail back here, all the way down the legs and the bottom of the calves. You can see the two jet boosters painted in like a yellowish gold color. If I turn it to the side here, I'll give you a side shot of the rocket pods, and I apologize, this thing is relatively tall, so trying to get this whole thing to fit on camera is a challenge. And up on the top here, if I can get my fingers to open it, there we go. It's an open canopy, and that's so you can actually fit Eva inside so she can pilot the mech. Get a better view of this. You see it's got a great molded seat in there, a couple of joysticks to operate the mech, and of course that just flips down and clicks shut. A really great representation of the Mantis mech that you can actually pilot in the game itself. I'll go over the articulation of the mech first, and we'll start at the top. Now this actually rotates 360 degrees, and it will spin all the way around. You just got to manipulate the arms that holds the Gatling gun and rocket pods. These actually pivot in and out, as well as up and down. If I flip it around to the back, you can get a better look at some of the other hinges. The hinge right here that goes in and out. Bring it back around to the front. You can see that on the rocket pod itself, there's another hinge which goes in and out. And it also rotates up and down. And just take note that this articulation is absolutely the same for the Gatling gun. Next we'll take a look at the legs, and this is where it gets a little interesting. We flip it to the side here, and you can see that these legs actually have a joint here, here, and at the ankle. There is motion up and down. There is no in and out motion though. But there's another hinge point right here. So if you point this down, you can make him really tall if you want. We'll reset this and we'll come down to the kneecap. This rotates like this, and you notice it actually clicks into place. Same thing with the chicken leg. And we'll come down to the ankle. This goes up and down a little bit, and it goes back and forth a little bit. So all in all, some pretty decent articulation for this mech. Now mind you, you really do have to manipulate all these articulation points to get him to stand up correctly. He is rather top heavy and he wants to fall forward. So I found if I seat these legs down nice and tight and tip him back and adjust his toes or his feet, you have to utilize all this articulation to get him to stand up, because he does want to rock and roll a little bit. Next, we'll go over the articulation of EVA. And if you have any of these other Halo figures, you're pretty familiar with the articulation. We'll start with the head. It goes left and right. There's not a lot of up and down motion because of the way of the molding. Coming down to the shoulder, she can raise her arms up and down. Rotate 360 degrees. We bend the elbow almost 90 degrees. Of course, that rotates 360 degrees. Come down to the wrist. These rotate all the way around. And I really love how they've included these hinges in the wrists, so you can go in and out. And that same articulation carries over to this wrist, which goes in and out. When I first got into this line, I was absolutely impressed that they included that wrist hinge coming down to the diaphragm. There's a cut here, and it does wiggle around a little bit. Can't really go back too far. Can go forward a little bit, but that's due to all the armor. And you can see that's the only torso articulation. There's no waist articulation. We'll come down to the legs. She can only do the splits about this far, and that's due to the armor on her upper thighs. She can Spartan kick forward really far.
This is Sparta!
No upper thigh articulation at all. There's no cut there. But she can bend at the knees really tight. Nice, great jumping poses you can get out of this figure. Come down to the ankle. You can see she can point her toe down this far. Up this far. And yes, there's actually a rocker. And you can also see the hole at the bottom of the foot, in case you want to put her on a figure stand. So, fantastic articulation, not only on the mech, but the figure as well. I went ahead and put her shotgun in her hands, just so you can see just how well she holds it. Now I have that resting against her shoulder. Her hands are supporting this gun. But you will notice that these guns are a little pliable, so they do want to flex a little bit. So you got to work with it a little bit. And this is about the best I can do. But for a shotgun, you don't really need to sight down it. You just need to aim that barrel at your target and pull the trigger. Let's see what Eva looks like inside the mech. So I'll grab her and take the mech. We'll open up the hatch. We'll get her into position. Flip it around so you guys can see what's going on, and we'll put her in the seated position. And bend her legs a little bit more and get her in there. And you can manipulate in her just fine. And if my fingers weren't so fat, I could actually show you she can reach down and hold those joysticks. There's more than enough room in here to fit many other of your 1/18 scale figures inside. But here we go. Eva is inside the mech. So we'll wrap up this video by doing some comparisons. We'll start with the mech itself. I'll bring in a Joy Toy Freeman mech. That's for the 1/18 scale. Let's bring in a 1/24 scale God of War mech, just to see what it's going to look like. And we'll get the God of War out of the way right here. And I'll grab another 1/18 scale mech, the Battle for the Stars Fear mech, which is nice and tall. And here you can see that the Mantis scales really well. Let's compare the figure with some other 1/18 scale figures. I'll bring in another Halo figure, the actual pilot, which I did a review on, so feel free to check that out. Next, I'll bring in Master Chief. Let's bring in a Joy Toy pilot. Let me grab another Joy Toy Freeman pilot. I'll grab Captain America from the Marvel Universe line. And last but certainly not least, I'll bring in Oishi Shikara from my custom running company. As you can see, the height and scale of these Halo figures really works well with multiple toy lines. And I bet you'd have no problem at all getting any of these figures inside that mech, with maybe the exception of Master Chief, due to his bulkiness. Well, this is going to conclude another review. This time we looked at the Halo Mantis mech with Spartan Eva. I grabbed this at Target for about 40 bucks. I will say that the plastic is a little different, so you're going to have to be careful, and I would absolutely advise holding on to the legs and other parts while you're trying to manipulate the articulation. But for the price point, not too bad. Thank you once again everyone for watching, and of course if you like what you see, join the community. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click that bell for future notifications of upcoming videos. And of course, please help a fellow collector out and share your knowledge.